Hey guys, and welcome to MerMay 2023. This is the first day. I did put markers in the corner and then kind of forgot about it after like day 3. So unfortunately those aren't in this most of the first week here. And then I tried to remember to do it. So they're in some of them, but not all of them. But it's okay because they're only there for like a second during the sketch. But welcome to MerMay 2023. This is something that I kind of did last year, but I didn't fully complete it. And this year I really wanted to like dive into like digital art and just really try to do all 31 days. And this first one was quite simple. It was very like just in the moment, whatever I was doing, whatever I was feeling. And I drew like this dancing mermaid siren person. Her face is kind of scary, but I kind of like that about her. She just looks like really spooky, like a siren a little bit, at least that's how I see her. But I still quite like her. And this was the first one. A lot of the hands, at least in this first week, are not looking very hand-like. I was rushing a lot and I just didn't feel like doing hands a lot of the time, and so I would focus more on like other aspects of the line art or coloring or just, you know, something else. And in that one you can see like the hand on the right is you know, a little less of a hand. And then I tried to mess around with the tail a little bit, struggled with the face. I struggled with the face a little bit more even when I was coloring it. But this first one didn't take that long. It was like a sit down for like a couple hours and then it was done. And that was it. It's just like a classic siren mermaid kind of gal. And here I'm just coloring, doing a bit of like a painterly like backgroundish. For some of these I used like really heavy line art, and I don't typically do that, and it got thinner as the days went on, but I used like the pencil brush, I think, and I just like did that for like everything, because it was a very simple, like, I don't know, it was just kind of fun, and I struggled with deciding like what color her hair should be for a little bit, but then I figured it out. We went with just black, which I think looks pretty nice. I had fun shading this character. I had fun adding the blue on the tail and on her face. I think it turned out pretty cute. I did that on a lot of the mermaids. I did face scales and I did like a fade of colors in the tails a lot of the time. So that was something that I realized I like to do, is do like a fade in for the colors, like do different colors. What is that word I'm looking for? A gradient of colors. That's the word I was looking for. I liked to do like a gradient in the colors, and I liked to do the face scales and everything. So I think that it turned out pretty cute. I really like how icy her eyes are. I think it just adds to the spookiness. She just looks like the kind of mermaid or siren that would like sink your boat. You know, like it's definitely more of a siren vibe than a mermaid vibe, and that's completely fine with me. I think it's great. So yeah, this is the day 1 mermaid pretty much. I'm just finishing up the rendering and I'm gonna add some highlights, but yeah, that's it. So for day 2, I did something completely different. Instead of her being like dancing around and like a lot of, I mean, there's still like movement in the hair, there's still like fluid movement in the hair, but instead of her like dancing around, looking all happy, this mermaid is sitting on the beach and she's very, she looks annoyed. I love the way that her face turned out. It's so subtle and yet it tells such a good story, I think. And yeah, again, you can see like I'm using like thicker line art just with the pencil brush. And it got thinner as time went on. Like in these different mermaids, it just got thinner and thinner. And it goes from thin to thick like quite a lot. So I don't know, it's just kind of whatever brush I happen to be on or whatever I feel like using. So that's pretty fun. That's been pretty fun. I don't usually stray that far from what I normally do, but then for some reason I just started doing the round brush, or the pencil brush, and I just used it for everything, because it was simple, it was pretty fast, and I didn't have to worry about, oh, how am I gonna make this texture, you know, I just tried to do it my best with what I had, and that was it. So it did make things a lot simpler. This background, this is the first time I've tried to draw a beach like this, like, I mean, you know, since I was, like, really little, but this is the first time I've, like, genuinely tried to draw, like, the ocean, and the sea foam, and the beach, and I think it looks okay. I like that it looks pretty muted. I really love shading hair like this, like her color. I love shading that exact color of hair. It is so fun to me. I don't know why. I just love the muted colors of shading that, and I usually like to work with brighter colors, but I really just love shading that like blonde, almost platinum blonde hair. So with these mermaids, I also tried to do a variety of lighting scenarios, and a lot of them, the lighting was coming from the top left, and I noticed that, so I tried to switch it up like partway through the week. This is mermaid number 2, and now we are going directly on to number 3. And this mermaid actually has more of a story than just being a mermaid. So this is one of my first ever OCs. At least that I actually tried to make a story with. And the girl is not normally a mermaid, but sometimes I just like get that itch to draw her, so I made her a mermaid, and her name is Wendy, and in her story, whatever, which is like not a thing anymore, she's a witch, and so she has this really long, bright blue hair, and she's in their world, in the world that she comes from, everybody has, well, not everybody, but there's like magic and stuff, right? But she in particular is like one of the most overpowered characters that was in that story. She wasn't a main character, neither is Toby, who the guy is, but they were always like my favorite in the story, even though they weren't the main characters. Actually, Wendy was kind of a villain, but I guess that happens sometimes. Do you guys ever miss your OCs, like when you scrap a story or scrap an OC entirely, maybe? Because I do. I miss them quite a lot. These are really the only two that I like really miss. There are a couple others, but I really miss Wendy sometimes, and I draw her quite often, more often than you'd think. It just doesn't get pointed out. And I struggled with Toby's hand for quite a while. I struggled with Wendy's face for a little bit, but I really like how their expressions turned out. I really like how this piece turned out. So yeah, I'll just let you enjoy the time lapse for a bit. This is also where you can see that I'm using the pen for line art, where the past two I did the pencil for everything. I'm really not entirely sure what prompted me to do that. I guess just because, like, it's windy, and so I was like, you know, I'm gonna do something a little bit more detailed. So I started coloring her hair, and then I guess I took a break or the footage got lost or something, because we got to this point, and then I just recorded, I guess, the rest of the rendering. I tried to do cooler tones to shade Wendy and warmer tones to shade Toby, just to, like, emphasize that human versus mermaid kind of thing. I also put blue, like, on her skin, you can kind of see it, to make it try to seem like they're more underwater or something. I don't know, I don't know entirely what that was going for, but I like how it looks. I wish that I did that more in this piece. I also really like how both of their expressions turned out. I think it really is trying to tell something, and I like it a lot. I just like this piece a lot, although her hair looks kind of like cloudy and muddy. I probably struggled with it, but I don't even have the footage to see, so I guess we'll never know. I do know that I struggled with Toby's pants, but we're just going to ignore that and quickly move on, which is entirely what I did. I just tried to do something as simple as possible, and then I added the pupils and made them look very spooky. I really love this. I really do like how this came out, though. And here I'm just adding some finishing touches, some final highlights, and finally remembering the cross necklace, which I had neglected. And then that's it. It's, well, I'm gonna add backgrounds and bubbles and stuff, but this is Toby and Wendy. Okay, and here is mermaid number 4, question mark? I think so. This is why I need to put the numbering in the actual piece so that I know. I struggled with her feminine features for a little bit. Don't look at that. So this one is actually based off of the song Misa Misa by Corpse. It had been stuck in my head for a couple days, so I just, whenever I sat down to draw a mermaid, that's what I drew. I drew a character inspired by Misa in Death Note. I don't actually know her whole name. I didn't actually ever watch more than 5 minutes of that anime. I couldn't get into it. But I like the song. I know that her hair is half up, half down, but I just didn't think that it looked right, so I only did the pigtails. See, and in this one, I'm actually using the watercolor brush, I think, to do line art and everything, and really just keeping it to one brush, like, made it a lot simpler. I really love how I did her tail. Instead of doing the like normal mermaid kind of thing, I did this fade where it went from, you know, her skin to her scales. And I really like that. I like how it turned out. So I added a lot of jewelry, and I did like that really thick like winged eyeliner, eyelashes, because I really wanted to push the idea of like emo, goth, e-girl kind of vibes. So that's what I did, and I do like how this one turned out. Maybe it's just because it was inspired by a Corpse song, or maybe it's because she's just dancing. I don't know. I don't know what it is about it, but I like it. Or maybe it's because of the color palette, but I don't know. I just think it turned out well. It did jump to this coloring because I was laying down the base colors and then I was like, oh no, I'm not recording. So that actually happens quite a lot in this video. I'm sorry about that. But here I am just going around cleaning things up. And then I got onto the actual rendering of the piece, and I just messed around with things till I liked it. And this one I put like quite a bit of detail into, actually. And I did like this weird like gradient from black to like the black scales into her skin, even on her fingers. And I really like how it looks on her face. And I like it on her hands and like everything. I don't know, I think that it just looks pretty cool. And I just messed around with that till it looked good, and then I added some blush because blush makes everything cuter, and that's it. I just added the finishing touches, the highlight, the pupil, everything. And yeah, that's Mermaid 4, maybe 4, I think. And I like her a lot. I also added some purple highlights on her scales, as if like the water was really purple, and I really like that. I tried to do like the shading so that it looked like the water was actually purple. But yeah, that's it. That's Mermaid number 4, I think. Mermaid number 5. This takes a bit of a story. So it was a rough couple weeks. It's been a rough couple weeks. And this mermaid in particular took me so long. It took me like 2 weeks to do this. So I didn't record any of the process because I just didn't have that much time to work on it. It'd be like a couple minutes for each time I got to work on it. So here it is, bask in it, look at it. It's nice, isn't it? I think she looks really cozy. And yeah, that's why there's no footage. There just wasn't time for me to record. Mermaid 6 was swamp inspired. I actually think she's really cute. Her anatomy is definitely off. She only has like 2 arms and hands and a head. But, and even then her arm anatomy is off, like her shoulder and her elbow. It looks off. But I still think that she's cute. I really like how I used her hair sort of to look like moss on the log. And I really like how that turned out. You can see that I was kind of lazy on the left side, and I didn't even bother to try to like make it look like it was actually falling down on the log, and I really wish that I could just reach through the screen and fix it. But yeah, I still like how this turned out. It looks, I mean, her face is a lot more round than I would usually do. There's just a lot of things wrong with it, but I still think it's cute. And I like how thick her eyelashes are, again, just to try to, like, I don't know, I was trying to make it look like moss, and that's why I used green for the outline as well. So I did a lot of the coloring in like green and like a turquoise kind of, you know, so those were the colors that I was really going for. This brown and the greenish lake, it was a little too green, so I made it more blue with the hue sliders. But unfortunately that did change the log color, but I think that it looks even more like rotted and swampy, so I think it actually turned out alright. But yeah, I just added some highlights, did some shading on the hair, and that's it. That's my swamp mermaid. I think she's cute. And I also added some cute little spots. I don't know if they're scales or just freckles or what, but I think that they are so adorable. And that is my swamp mermaid. And then for the 7th mermaid, the 1 weak point, I did a neon color scheme, and I did like this full body thing so you can see her entire tail. And I just used a lot of bright colors, and that's it. I used a different kind of shading than I normally ever do, but I like how it turned out, and it's definitely different. You would think that shading like that would be easier, but I actually found it really difficult because I used like only hard edges and only the pen. I don't know, I just found it a little difficult, but I do quite like how it turned out. It looks very like just neon cyberpunk. I love that. And that is week 1 of MerMay. Now let's go on to MerMay week number 2. And if you're enjoying this video so far, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more.